Hello and welcome to Mostly Off Topic Placed Laughter at Dragons, episode 36, session
Holy
19.
cow.
Session 19. And this is us playing with the proper rules again, the proper second edition rules, which we've all forgotten. But there we have it. I am joined by Ben,
Hello.
Joe,
Hello.
Matt,
Good evening.
and we are playing the One Ring second edition. We are playing Laughter at Dragons. We're going to spoil Laughter at Dragons in all senses of the word. The stream's going to get interrupted by a schedule of a sequence of things, mostly to do with me having to try to get Kenny to do things. And we are just playing the One Ring second edition as we see fit. I don't know that there's much more to it than that. And thank you everybody for watching us, for letting us know how we're doing. Please do leave comments, please do leave feedback, and tell everybody about us.
Not everybody.
No,
Tell everybody.
everybody.
Keep it
No.
secret.
No,
Keep it safe.
no,
Tell selective people that you think are worthy.
no, everybody. If we're not viral by this time, like now, then that's it.
I've had 2 jabs. I shouldn't be viral.
That's fair. That's fair.
And I've bought my booster as well.
Okay, that's right. So, let's get this badger on the road. Promises have been made to one another. And with that, Ugrash, the burned orc, melts into the darkness that has ever favoured his kin. The cloud of treachery to come from both sides hangs over our heroes as the night descends upon them. The air is warm here, warmer than may be expected, and the ground is sodden as a steady trickle drips from the cliffs of the withered heath, the birthing place of dragons, from which Smaug came, and from which Dane fears more torturous dragon breath will descend. Jagged edges reach into the sky. Dust flows off them, and behind you all the wastes that you have crossed. What lurks ahead of you? Orcs and dragons, and perhaps further safety for the kingdom under the mountain, if your endeavour can be brought to a successful conclusion. So, as I recall, and my memory is hazy of these events, you had agreed a compact with Ugrash.
We did, yeah. Yeah. Much to the chagrin of Loftar and Torg. I'm not sure Sirk was that fussed. Given that he doesn't really.
Sirk was fine about it because he interpreted the orc's words to be true and genuine. You lot made a deal with an evil being, so take from that what you will.
Yeah, right. I get what you're saying there.
I can't believe a veteran of the 5 armies made a deal with an orc.
Ooh.
That's an early start.
We are starting early tonight.
Good job on soft drinks.
I feel the need to justify them.
Yeah. Well, all you have to do is ask Loftar what he was doing not long ago.
Loftar, cast your mind back.
So we've left a place that was clearly affected, tainted by shadow. With Cauldron, the dwarven leader, being clearly had some kind of dragon sickness type thing clouding his vision, and now we've gone off further north into the waste to actually seek out the dragon that Dane has asked us, has set us this task to do. And we've immediately upon this journey, we've made a pact with an orc who has pledged to take us to the dragon without leading us into any kind of trap. And the benefit for the orc is that we will share any treasure with him and him alone, and we will not harm. There were a set of orcs that are kind of close to him, I think. That
His
he
tribe.
kind of,
Yeah,
his
we're not going to
tribe,
harm
and
his crew, but we
we had
will
to
kill
swear
his
not to
rival.
hurt them. So I'm guessing if we break that oath, which took some doing to agree to do that, if we break that oath, we're then going to do ourselves a bit of a
We'd be no
But
better than an orc.
I was thinking, however, if we unpick that a little bit, then we are not liable for a sort of stray mattock that may have accidentally fallen upon his head, should it be placed in a sort of risky position that he may or may not be aware of. So it's all open to interpretation. That's what Loftar, I think, is thinking in his head.
We've got bigger dragons to bore and then skin.
Loftar's kind of, I'm getting sort of Tony Soprano vibes from Loftar tonight.
Yeah, because he wants to get out of that deal one way or the other. Obviously, along the legal routes, right? We're not breaking any rules here. I don't need any more shadow points, but that orc's got to pay.
Great. I've got a whole buffer of 3 between my shadow level and my current hope. I've got a nice 3-point buffer.
Should do things that we do at the start of sessions, shouldn't we? Doesn't the hope pool replenish at the start of a session now?
Fellowship.
Okay.
Fellowship pool doesn't it?
Yes, the fellowship pooled.
So we have 4 of them.
Yep.
Yep.
One per player, and 1 because Balin is our patron.
That's right. Yep.
At the minute, until he finds out what we've done.
And that's about it. Because we don't get hope.
We haven't done an end of session or anything.
Okay.
I think we did all do a bit of jiggery pokery with some of our stats, didn't we?
Yeah, we got a shadow point. Yeah, I can notice here I've got a shadow point. I'm going to mark it down.
2.
But just since we're on that topic, so the endurance would have been recuperated from any previous battles because we would have
that's
rested.
right, because you'd rested. Yeah. You would all had long rests before you kind of like travelled through.
Okay. So I'm just down 1 hope then. Looking at my everything else is fine. Just down 1 hope and extra shadow or first shadow.
Yeah. So is there anything you kind of... Excuse me, I'm just getting... My notepad. Is there anything that you particularly want to do as the night draws in?
We probably want to. We weren't due to come back and meet him until later, were we?
Yeah.
We probably don't want to loiter if this is within walking distance of his camp. So probably back off a bit to where we were.
Okay.
Yeah. I just need to occupy. Sorry, I just want to occupy my head with something, so I'm going to make sure I clean all the weapon and the equipment, just check everything is fine, because just a little bit on edge, all right, just an edge.
Polishing his mattock.
Well, there's straps, there's shoes. I mean, mattock is, everyone goes for mattock, but everything else, because I can't think of this bloody orc at the moment. But I know what you're getting at, so yes, that's.
Whatever you need to do to relax. I'm trying to think how I do the voice now. Whatever you want to do to relax.
Do we still set a company objective at the start of the session? Is that still a thing that we do in second edition?
I don't think so.
Good.
And aren't you accompanied by 5 of the dwarves? I'm fairly certain that you're accompanied by 5
we
of the
took a
dwarves.
bunch of Aldrims.
Burin, Hepti, Nav, Lif, and Oda.
Yep. Lif, Oda, Hepti, Burin, and Nav.
And I think that you've got You got fatigue points from the journey so far.
I've got 3, yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Where do they live?
Is that accrued onto your load?
Yeah, the end of the journey is, and then it burns off.
Yeah. Are we still journeying?
That is an interesting question. That I can't
We had
remember.
3 hexes to go apparently.
I think I think you've done the 3 hexes, and then you've reached the Withered Heath. I think this is, and that triggered the encounter with Ugrash, basically.
Right.
At the end of the journey, players of the mount reduce then all players make a travel roll and reduce fatigue. Yeah. Did you make travel rolls and reduce fatigue by 1 for success plus 1 for each Tengwa rolled, and then you add it to your sheet?
No. I don't remember.
Probably not.
Well, I haven't added anything to my sheet, so I assume we didn't make
okay.
any rolls.
So yeah, okay. So it may well be that you still got a little bit of the journey left. What do you say? 3 hexes, Ben?
3 hexes, wild plus shadow. Apparently, that's what my notes say. Anyway.
Yeah, the wildlands. Yeah, and the perilous, which is also a dark land. Yeah. Okay. Yes, we'd reached the perilous land. You'd immediately stopped, and that's what triggered the encounter. I remember now. Okay. He says it's not like there's a record of it anywhere that we could check if we really wanted to.
Pause a sec while I go watch a quick video.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, right. So Buren, Hepti, Nav, Lif, Oda are kind of like gathered around, musing a little bit in terms of the decision made and such like.
Yeah. We should probably go and explain our own feelings, I think.
Let's have a huddle.
Torg would feel inclined to go and sit with them and be honest with them, I think. And not try and sell it as some kind of great deal that's going to lead to a better future for dwarves or anything.
Subscribe to Captain Booster! Adios!
Subscribe to Kenster Booster. Adios.
Adios, muchacho.
It's like one of those like the images they put between frames, where it's to actually hear
Oh.
it, you'd have to freeze it, slow it down, play it backwards.
Yeah. Okay. They're kind of like. You can see that they're a little bit wary and a little bit confused. They kind of trust in your direction. They've learned to trust in your leadership a little bit, but this isn't what they expected.
No. And I feel the same. And this is a fragile agreement. And trust me when I say that I do not like it one bit.
Then
We shall have to have our guards about us, but we are forced, I fear. For how many of Ugruk's companions hide in the tree line around us now, watching silently? We do not know their force, their number. We must be wary.
So we're not 8 plus 8 versus a dragon is bad enough without factoring in then having to deal with orcs at the same time. We're here to specifically deal with the dragon. We weren't sent out here to deal with the orcs. We've got a job to do. If we're sent back out here later to come hunt orcs, then so be it. Although I will question my life choices even further if that's the case. But at the minute, we've been sent to deal with the dragon, and deal with the dragon we must. It's
Are you
just
trying to sell this to them or explain it
No.
to them?
just explain the reasoning? It's like, I don't expect you to like it. Who does like it realistically? The institutionalized hatred of orcs is well warranted. Some would say. Loftar. However, at this stage, we're not here hunting orcs. We've got a job to do. There was quite a clear message and quite a clear direction on what we're here for. And it'd be remiss of us to risk the primary objective to merely fulfill a secondary objective that we might have to come back to later.
So we're just following
It's-
orders.
No, you are. He's giving them.
And then, well, I would add, obviously, just wanted to, add from myself a little bit that obviously if we are attacked or in any way compromised, we will have to use force and defend ourselves, so it's not like we are not able to. So it
And
says
this
Loftar
form of-
thinking of, so just looking for the slightest opportunity
And so
from the orc.
it's all about defense, Loftar, and we all know the best form of defense is a good attack, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so now I'm just strategically sort of assigning our positions. And
So did we enter into the oath without intention to honour it?
No, we will honour it. We are not honourable individuals.
We must
We have to be
honor
prepared
it.
for them to break in it.
We must honor it as much as we can, in as much as they are orcs, and we cannot trust them. We cannot trust one word that this Ugruk has said, but we have sworn that should he lead us to the dragon without harm coming to us, that we will not attack his band. There
Just the boss.
is some infighting among these orcs. Perhaps therein lies our hope. But should it come to it, our survival, your survival, is more important than this oath that I take upon myself. I have made that decision. I do not expect you to follow it. I understand if you feel this is a dishonor on your ancestors, then you may walk away now.
They kind of look at each other. The rather brash kind of dwarf lad has taken on a bit of a leadership role. Had some of his edges knocked off him, as we kind of covered last time. Kind of, they just looked at him. The two girls kind of evaluating it in their own minds, whereas the two other lads are kind of like looking for a little bit of direction. And kind of look to each other. You can see there's a level of reluctance with regards to that. I do not know that we have a great deal of choice. We're not going to make it back across this waste on our own. And I guess the greater threat is the dragon. We're just evaluating, aren't we, to choose our decisions, choose our priorities.
Yeah, so Torg is not going to argue on that front. We are stuck. We have no choice. We would not have sworn any kind of oath with this orc if it were not to meet the goal King Dane, the king under the mountain, has set for us to achieve, to confront this dragon and to slay it.
They're warming up to the idea, but there's a level of.
And at the end of the day, what matters our reputation and our honour against the lives of all those we might protect by dealing with this threat here and now? Of what use is your honour as the dragon descends on you and burns everything around you like it did before and takes from us our history, our knowledge? It's a small price to pay.
Yeah, they seem resolved to the course of action. There's a level of kind of like youthful naivety in terms of, well, we could have just jumped him, we could have killed him, we didn't need to enter into a pact, and so on and so forth. Then they're not thinking about the risk that battle might have had, but they're not pushing back on it. They're not demonstrating any great kind of any great arguments.
That's all we can hope for, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else that you guys want to do?
I think so.
What's the so this Ugruk kind of disappeared into the shadows? What's the immediate surrounding?
Pretty much.
So you're kind of like looking around. It's night time, and there's not a massive, there's not much moonlight here. The shadows are foreboding that the one light of the moon casts. The mountain is deep, sharp rocks, scree gullies. Everywhere that you look, it looks slick with water that's kind of dripping down. It is not easy terrain by any measure.
Mm.
Yeah. So we go look for somewhere to put up for the night.
Yeah, but the power of the.
So, sorry about that. So looking around,
camp.
yeah, the terrain looks pretty treacherous, and in the dark, as accustomed as you may be to the tunnels and the warrens of the dwarven lands, this is a very different kind of scene and scenario. Ugrash seemed to be pretty comfortable and nimble throughout these lands.
Cheeky bastard. Now maybe
Feeling indebted to this orc.
It's just compact. There's no debt there.
No, but we are betrothed to him.
And he to us.
It does not sit with me.
It's fine. Suck it up and move on.
Oh, we must move on. We must camp, but where would be safest?
No, I don't think anywhere is particularly safe, but
yeah. If that's the case, I suggest we can just take watch and then just stay here.
is there anywhere out of whatever like the leeway wind is, or anywhere that doesn't look wet underfoot, so you can sit down without
explore roll or a scan roll?
I'll go explore, and it's whatever the new version of favoured is. So I get 2 thingies, 4 dice.
Do we all have to do it? Sorry.
There's just one.
Ooh, thank God I got to roll 2. Because one was an Eye of Sauron, but the other one's a 10. So 19.
Okay, that beats your 14. Any Tenguars or anything?
Nope, just regular.
Yeah, okay. So Sirk kind of heads off into the darkness a little bit. You can hear more than see and feel him. And Sirk, you find what looks to be a slab of rock that's kind of come down on top of another slab to create a bit of an overhang. You think that all 5 of you could kind of comfortably get in there. Some water has pooled a little bit, so it might not be the greatest place, but it's sheltered. It's slightly warmer, and that's the best that you've seen. It's flat ground as well. It's a flat slab, not a fat slag, which is a very different thing.
That's certainly what Sirk's out looking for.
Yeah,
in the dark.
Right. Yeah. So that's what you find.
I'll go get the rest of them then.
Yeah, okay. You can gather the rest of the crew. You kind of get across to this space, which is kind of like a stone tent, really. Somebody's going to have to, be in the pooled water, or you'll have to be outside.
I suggest we stand watch anyway, so
Yeah,
you'll be as wet laying in the water as you will be stood outside. So might as well rotate that duty. And then at least those that are in there are not laying in a pool of water.
Yeah. Okay. The night passes. It's cold and lonely in the area in the time that you're on watch, and with the movement of the clouds and the ash and dust, you think you see or hear things out and around and about, but none of them turn into anything more than that. And as the hazy, dull morning arrives, even those who didn't take a watch, or those who had a long time between the watch, the back is tense and the muscles are a little bit the back, there are some kinks to be worked out there, and everything's just got a grey sheen to it as the dust is just settling there, and the light isn't quite the vibrancy that you would wish to see here in the looming edge of the withered heath.
This truly is a miserable land.
Yes, it is. Ukkash, the burnt orc, stands tall,
Hi, Uki.
20 feet away.
Forgotten about that fella.
Are we ready?
Always.
There's a gorge about a half a mile away. So that's the entrance into the withered heath from these parts. It used to be home to ice trolls and cold worms, but the heat from the dragon has brought spring unseasonably here. Just the other side of the gorge are the plains where my tribe is settled, and then 3 days. 3 days. We can go through the mountains, or we can try to sneak alongside the camp. The mountains will be hard, but stealth does not come easily to all. I could hear the groans and the moans of you all night long.
Would it not, maybe if we've got to go past your camp anyway, would it not behove us to deal with that element of our compact first?
Why take on the tribe They're under his command for the moment.
No, we take on him.
Just him?
Just him. That was our agreement, wasn't it?
How are you going to do this? How are you going to sneak into the camp? He doesn't sit on the edge. He sits surrounded by his troops. My troops.
Are all of them loyal to him? None to you?
Loyal enough whilst he's got the dragon's backing.
Yeah. Okay. Mountains it is then.
Aye.
Because
I think.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm not stealthy.
We must risk the mountains. We
We're
are
dwarves.
none of us.
We're at home in the
stealthy.
mountains. It's not a risk. Unless you're one of those hill dwarves. No worse. And they call it a mountain. A mountain! It's just a bloody hill.
There's my stealth number.
Yes, I'm slightly more stealthy than you, which I find ironic, but I presume it's just a size thing. I have one. Which, compared to my last character, feels weird.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you gather your things together. Ugrash leads. He makes sure that he's 30-ish feet ahead of you. If he kind of goes out of sight, he either quickly comes back into sight and waves you along, or he kind of waits a little bit for you and indicates where he's kind of going. So there's no point that you lose him. But you're kind of navigating up and down. Sometimes you're kind of going down the hill to skirt around the side, and these are sheer rocks, wall of black rock reaching up to the sky, sheer cliffs, kind of the edging and of them, deep gullies riven with water that kind of sometimes gushes, other times there's just a trickle. All of the faces are slick. As you can see in the soft sunlight, and you're moving around what's like a maze of worked riverbeds, kind of skirting along edges. At one point, you're kind of out on the edge and like kind of circling around a buttress of rock that kind of jumps further. And as you're always moving, you're moving like further forward, further upwards. The air is getting a little cooler. The wind, as you get to the exposed edges, whistles in. It finds all the cracks and all the kind of like openings in your clothes to kind of like dig into the skin. You have to kind of like at points kind of put away your stuff to get down onto hands and knees to kind of crawl and lift yourselves up and along. This is going to be intolerable.
I might have to. Sorry, I might have to get a drink on that account. That gives me an excuse.
Whatever gets you through, Matt.
Yeah. And then it kind of like hits the top, and you can see that the clefts and the cliffs kind of narrow down, and there's no way that you could go right, and there's no way that you could kind of go left, and there's this gorge that you can see coming down. It takes you a little moment to kind of like look and for the eyes to settle, and you can see what looks to be a mud flat the other side of this gorge. The gorge is probably half a mile-ish long, and it kind of like comes back down across this rim, and then the mountains either side of it are a very similar ilk to what you've seen before.
Does it very much look like a kill box?
Very much so. Yeah, very much so. And you can't really see much or discern much down there, but you pause for breath, having just made this kind of like long and ascent, and then you can sort of see the ant-like figures moving around, some tents, the kind of gathering what looked to be kind of wood into bonfires. You can see the smoke slowly rising from what are the smouldering flames, and just on the wind as the breeze kind of comes and carries itself to you. Not the howling wind that bites into your flesh, but when you're in the lee of that a little bit, you can hear that there's a noise, kind of like rhythmic kind of chanting and shouting kind of coming up off the orcs, from the orcs below. Ugash skirts the edge of the gorge. He's finding paths and footholds that you would have not really thought about. He kind of ascends up a bit of a cliff face, like down one edge. You have to help each other, and you certainly have to help the 5 younger figures to kind of get clambered up there. You would have never thought that there was anything, but then it opens out a little bit, and there's a narrow defile that you kind of walk along. Water's coming down it, so every foot fall is hitting the water, and you're trudging along and moving along. Ogrash every so often reaches into a pouch and kind of just takes some dried meat and a little swig of something from a bottle, and you can start to feel your own hunger kind of like biting into you. He's moving slowly but relentlessly kind of forward.
Yeah. I'd like to call out to him in a kind of hushed voice, and ask him what their chanting signifies in the field below us.
Submission to the dragon. They chant his name, glorify him. He has no deeds. He is not worthy. We have had a calling from the south. It is
To what end do they chant his name?
To appease him. Dragons are renowned for wanting praise from lesser creatures. They have no words of flattery, so all that they can do is just appease him with praise.
Then their words are futile.
He would eat them, whether they shouted his name or not. And that he is a false idol. The true idol resides elsewhere. And when we have dealt with these, then I will take my tribe to the greater glory of our kind.
I do not wish to know of what you speak, and that is your business. But tell me of our destination now, for I feel like a deer that has been funneled through the woods into a lying bay of hunters with arrows pointed at their neck.
We have a long, arduous journey ahead of us. 'Tis not so far, but the route is difficult and treacherous. There will be 2 passes of the moon before we get to the tower. The watchtower is ruined now. Once it must have stood tall. The watchtower of the dragon. When we crest that col, we will be able to see it, and we may even catch sight of the dragon of flight.
Interesting. I've never seen a dragon.
Do you have a plan of attack?
We do actually.
We do.
I'm going to talk to it.
Let us not speak of that now, Sirk.
No, well, that's true.
Our
Also,
journey-
you aren't interested in his plans. I'm fascinated. Who is your idol then? Who is it that you worship? Why do you go to the south? What is it you seek down there when you get your tribe back? And so it will proceed to just question him inanely and intensely.
He'll answer the first question. We have been called. I have seen the eye. We head to the south to meet with the forces. And as soon as you kind of keep prodding and poking, he just turns his back and walks off.
Can't hurt to ask. Now, do we know what the eye is? I can't remember. It was our other characters who had the dreams about the eye, wasn't it? They all start blurring. It's like,
Yeah, so
remember back to my other persona. Was that me or was that?
So Sauron has declared in Mordor, so you've probably got a postcard like informing you of that fact. It's kind of like up to you, really. I don't know that you would know.
Can I make a
masses.
lore roll?
Yeah. Yeah, make a lore roll. Make a lore roll.
What's lore? Lore's 5 and 2 dogs. Let's do maths now. That'll be 33. 2 tenguas.
So this is a binary pass or fail thing. So 2 tenguas. What do you want to do about the tenguas? How do you want to?
What is it? I have to
tenguas?
remember. This isn't my
So you can find some of the stuff out. You can influence more people.
Do it fast.
Yeah.
Do it faster. Yeah, that's right.
I will recount it subtly to the others as to what that might mean.
Okay.
I think that's one of the options, isn't it? To be subtle.
No, you kind of widen influence, make haste, go quietly. So you could go quietly. You could gain insight. So you could find out what you know in a noiseless fashion. You could gain insight, cancel a failure, or score an additional success if this was an extended task.
Additional insight into my.
Yeah. So do you want to spend both for that? Because you technically spend a tengua for additional.
Yeah, I'll have everything that 33 will get me.
Everything that 33 2 tenguas will get you. Okay, right. So I don't think that you would particularly have any link into the eye, but Tales of Dark Lords, they're not quite to a penny, but they're cyclic in terms of stories through the ages of the world, and certainly Mordor, the Tower of Barad-dûr, would have featured in that. The battles of Gil-galad against the forces of Sauron, etc., etc. So you can surmise from that what you want. Certainly, that's a hotbed of old, the Black Gates, and so on. That's well known, well established. So you could be kind of thinking, is something risen again? I don't think that you would be like, oh, Sauron's back. Or anything on those lines. Sauron's back in. You might be more thinking some of the evil that has long inhabited the world is roused and is calling the orcs to their banner.
If we refer back to the war against the orcs, that was from Mount Gundabad down through the Misty Mountains, wasn't it? And it was all of the orcs along that kind of spine of what would you call it? That region.
The Misty Mountains.
The
Rovanian.
Yeah. So, I guess they were flocking to a kind of strong orc, weren't they?
Yeah.
It wasn't anything beyond that
associated with thingy.
Really.
Yeah.
So the assumption I would think would be more that there must be another massing of the orcs.
Yeah.
Of some kind. We wouldn't necessarily know. You might know, all right, Sauron's back. Oh yeah, who's that? His guy from Legend, Dick. Had his finger chopped off.
Were the dwarves there during that, or was it just elves and men? Because I know it's like my actual knowledge doesn't go beyond the film on that one. Because I know it's like the last alliance, elves and men kind of thing. Were there any dwarves there? Or is it?
I don't know. It's a big enough event that, and with Sirk's kind of interest in all things of that nature, you would know about it anyway, even if there weren't any orcs there. But I guess what you would be, So the most logical thing for that lore roll with the 2 tenguas is that there used to be a stronghold of evil in that direction, stronghold of evil in that direction, and it's roused from there again. It must be a greater than normal enemy to be able to drag the orcs from the north down to it. And given that he's talking about seeing these sights, and he's talking almost of a religious fervor for something that he's not personally experienced, it must be a powerful sorcerous entity in and of itself. But you wouldn't be able to peg that as any one individual from myth, I don't think.
It'll be more, I think, that, okay, he'll have put that together then, and he'll have questions for the next time he's back somewhere where he can either ask somebody or research it.
Yeah. So given that the Council of the Wise took quite a long time to piece everything together, a 33...
Put it like that.
Yeah, that's right. If only Gandalf had rolled that roll and had a couple of Tengwars to spend when he visited the White City.
Gandalf had consulted with Sirk.
That's right. Well, you know Gandalf, you know your best buddies, so maybe you can work that out. Okay. But he's turned his back and is kind of like heading off in that way.
Quite quickly.
Yeah. Okay. So it is quite a difficult journey. And as the night kind of like moves in, he stops for a little while, but not for very long. So could I get an athletics check from everybody, please?
An athletics check.
Yeah, just to see how well you guys traverse.
Shit. I've got 2 Tengwar. Yeah.
Okay.
And a 1.
Oh, I got one Sangwar, so I got 17. That's enough with a Sangwar.
Okay.
I got a 2.
Okay.
Yeah, this is bullshit.
Sirk, you need to work out.
Yeah, you need to stop drinking.
Okay, so those of you who got Tengwars, you could cancel a failure. So the other 5, they didn't do great either. And what I'll say for the other 5, they rolled as a group for ease.
Okay.
So they've failed and Sirk has failed. So you can spend a Tengwar to cancel a failure.
Yeah.
So I've got 2 Tengwar, but I've also rolled in a 1, which is just crap. But I think the target number is 13, right? Because that's the strength bit.
For you, Loftar, is 13. Yes.
Also, that's a flying color pass. So I will share my Tengwars with whoever is.
That's efficient rolling, Matt.
Yes.
That's the best possible result from a fair pass.
Yeah. So Sirk, you're really struggling with the physicality required for this, as are the other 5. But Torg and Loftar, it clearly ties into their more martial expertise, so they take on a little bit of the load off the others, kind of rebalance bags, kind of come and help you up and lift you around, so nobody loses or gains any fatigue.
They have to toss me over a gap.
Yeah, that's right, as you kind of moving through. And as the morning kind of like rises on the next day, you can see the tower ahead of you, the watchtower of Zirakinbar. It was at one time a wonder to behold. It lies on a hill, riven by many narrow clefts and tunnels, and of those the dwarfs of yore made an instrument, a harp of air and stone that could be played by opening or shutting doors and valves. Thus they made the mountains sing. The dragon has smashed all of that. Nothing remains of the upper levels of the watchtower now. What was known as the Chamber of Winds and the Raven's Perch, nothing but rubble. Now, from the mountain's shattered crown, there is but smoke and sulphurous flames that rise, feeding the grey airs that drift from the withered heath southwards. Ugash continues moving. Through the night you saw down in the valley bonfires with the orcs dancing and moving around them. Ugash force is a fair force. This is not a handful of orcs that you could easily best. This is a fighting force that he has mustered, that he leads or led strongly. You continue through the sharp rocks, your fingers a little calloused, feet where you've bashed them one too many times against the rock underfoot, fallen maybe a couple of times, got down on your arses as you slid down the scree betwixt a couple of gullies, and most of everything that you have is cold and is wet, and when you move out into the wind it just clings to your surface as the wind hammers into it. Your extremities, you're not sure you'll ever feel them again, but you're on a downward move now, and there's less water this side, and the air is starting, the temperature is starting to rise, and as you kind of get more down towards the mud flats, and you can see the tower on its hill in front of you, the air feels normal, and then it feels like you're outside of a bakery, and then outside of a smithy, and now you're kind of like feeling it, breath stolen a little bit from your lungs as the temperature is quite warm. Ugash flits along the base of the rock, and then there is a sight that is both tremendous and fearful as you see from the tower a black and red, sinuous, impressive, imposing figure rises up into the sky, a beat of the wings, and then it jumps, and you can see the rippling muscles underneath its scales, thick along its hide, its softer underbelly. It and flames orange and yellow tinge, and you see the shimmer of the heat gathered on the edge of it, and it soars a little, swoops and lands, the dust thrown up around. Then it rises once more and moves off further north into the withered heath. Hard to estimate from where you were the size, but the way that it landed, the dirt and the dust that it threw up, this is a beast with some heft to it. And you could see the shimmering of the air as it superheated from its breath. You have no indication as to its attention span. That is the dragon.
Well, you can take that one off the list.
Did it land
Yeah.
anywhere near the orcs, or did it just seem to land for the sake of landing and then take off again?
It was probably close to the edge of the orc. The main orc encampment is a bit behind you, but there's some bonfires kind of like scattered intermittently, almost kind of like they're forming a bit of a road towards the tower.
So I feel that was something of a display. Perhaps not for our benefit.
It didn't seem to serve any purpose, did it? It wasn't hunting from the looks of it. It didn't land anywhere long enough unless it ate incredibly quickly and moved on.
But who is to determine the intent of such a creature? For these, if the stories of Smaug are true, it is no mere animal. This is an intelligent lizard. More intelligent than many dwarves or men.
He's also prideful, if the story is to be believed.
Mm-hmm.
And pride as a way of superseding intelligence. Intelligence is hard gained and easily lost in the moment. I still think our plan holds the best option of success that we can deal with our current band.
We do not seek to best it with brute force. We can see that if we did, we would fail.
We're going to need a bigger boat.
A barrel?
Yeah, we're going to need a bigger barrel to hide in.
Maybe 7 barrels or 8.
I presume we push on to where it
Head north.
makes its home.
Is Uglash still around, or I'm kind of interested in the tower. I don't know if we can
Oh
make
yeah,
our
it's
way
any
to
chance
the
to
tower.
see some architecture.
So Ugrash was the dragon lairs in the tower.
Oh, double bubble.
Mm.
I get to look at the architecture. I wonder if there's anything interesting. Oh, there might be to learn something from the construction at his base, because that stood up well even to a dragon from the looks of it. Maybe there's a skill that we've lost there somewhere.
Its lair is in the tower.
Yes.
And what lies north, Orc?
The heath. It probably goes to hunt or to converse with others of its kind.
Oh, there's
Then-
more of them.
This place is...
Let us make our way to the tower.
Let us go now, whilst it is away.
Aye, with speed.
Yeah.
They have a acute sense of smell, so it will know. We cannot just easily hide, but let us go.
Perhaps we would have less chance of detection if you were not near.
Rude.
I'm not the one who smells around here.
Yeah, all his sweat glands are burnt over. He's not sweating at all.
Orcs are not unusual in the tower. Dwarfs. With your lavender water and your lily livers.
Oh, did you like it? Thanks.
Well, Loftar is no fan of lavender water, I can tell you.
Yeah.
I don't
can
know.
guarantee you
He's
that.
borrowed mine on many occasions after a few beers when he's been pursuing the barmaids.
We were not supposed to talk
from
about
you.
that, Sirk. That was
He kind of
meant
points
to
to
be
your
a
chest.
secret.
Points to your chest left to us. Let's look at what your liver's like then.
Well, we
You
have
break your own
to open up.
contract,
Yeah.
Come, let's go. We do not wish to do this
Trust
in
me.
the nightfall when the orcs may swarm the place.
His liver's seen a pretty hard time. You don't want to be eating that liver.
Yeah. Okay. So what's the plan? Ugash is kind of like starting to navigate down off the mountainside, and you can see a little bit of the kind of terrain the way where you imagine that he's going to kind of end out. The tower is on what you think is probably 2 or 3 levels rising above. Starts broad, rises up at the top of it, has kind of like been done in. It lives on a bit of a mound, a bit of a hill that rises up. Any shelter that there was in the road that kind of leads to the main gate has been torn away, and there'll be no cover as you kind of go up that exposed rump of the hill, through the main gate and into the tower properly.
Okay.
We probably
we
want to
just
go
have-
quick then.
We kind of have to wing it. My biggest fear is the actual interaction with the dragon. Because
That's
in
fine.
order
I've got that.
Are you sure? Because
Yeah.
in order for us all to come out of that, I think we have to offer the dragon something that it genuinely wants.
I'm going to offer it to tell its story.
Yeah. But dragons like gold as well, right?
I ain't gonna hear that.
I know, but we can tell it that there is some. The other thing is, there's this whole band of orcs that potentially, if we can turn the two
Oh,
against
if we
each
tell
other,
it that they've
that
been,
they've got gold.
is that
and-
not us
Well-
endangering Uglash's people that we've promised not to hurt?
No, so we tell the dragon that the new orc leader
Are the chieftain and
is
all the
seeking
gold?
his hoard of gold in order to supplant his already considerable pile of gold that he's already got stashed back at
Orc Hotel.
Where?
Very smart.
Orc HQ.
Mm.
I think we have to work that angle somehow, Sirk, and you're the dwarf to do it.
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to try and weave that into anything that I say to him.
Are you sure?
Oh, it's yep. I will.
I'm not doubting.
I'm great in personal circumstances.
I'm
and
not doubting
in
your
social
skills
interactions.
in these situations, sir, but I've witnessed things go a little bit squiffy.
I'm more than confident in my ability to say it without saying it, while saying it.
Well, that fills me with confidence.
It's not. There's no point in coming out and being all. I can try and outriddle a dragon if you wish, but I don't think that's the approach. If you want to him to go take on Uglash's enemy, I feel we need to be more obvious in our subtlety, because the dragon will be looking for more riddles than it will for subtlety.
I see it more as if you think of a river that wears down a stone, a huge immovable stone. It does it over aeons, and eventually the stone just gives in and crumbles. To me, Sirk, you are that river, and you will wear the dragon down. But Loftar, our role in this is to stay in the shadows, I think, and to be wary of the greenskins.
Yeah, we've got to keep an eye on these creatures. Yes, for sure. Let Sirk give him opportunity to put his case in front of the dragon, and for us to look for an opportunity to slip a mattock or two into the orcs.
If the chance arises, though, that is no mean feat.
Well,
So
needs a must.
when I'm distracting said dragon, how are you guys going to kill it?
Who said about killing?
Uglash
We're here
is
to do.
going to help us.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure he has a plan.
You said the tower was 3 stories high still. You muted. Were you very quiet?
Yes, to all of those questions.
So, well, how about looking at this tower? If I position myself on the top available floor that's left, I feel I'd be at dragon eye height. Better to have a conversation. And then you lot, if you secrete yourself somewhere in the bottom of the tower, you're at dragon hitting height. So while it's up talking at me, if you see the opportunity, you go in. You go in under the belt, so to speak.
A fair plan. A fair plan. We will have to wing it a little bit.
Yeah.
I feel.
Why have we ever not?
Yes, exactly. We'll do it
No
Smaug style.
plan survives contact with the dragon, I believe is the official saying of the dwarves.
I assume that at some point during your conversation with the dragon, Uglash's competitor will attempt to storm the tower.
What will it know? We're here.
There will be chaos, and that will provide us with the opportunity to escape with our skins intact. Whether we will have slewn the dragon,
But
I
aren't
do
we
not
here
know.
to slay the dragon?
We are. We must try to find a way, but without the tools to do the job.
Yeah.
But let us inspect this tower, and perhaps the answer will present itself.
Haven't we got a dragon slaying mattock?
I feel like we need a ballista.
Yeah.
We've got one here. Loftar Ballista, a dwarf. Son of Balin, not
And,
that Balin.
I do appreciate your confidence in me, but
Who needs
I
a
ain't
bal-
killing
who
no
needs a
dragon on my own.
ballista? Who needs a ballista when you got Loftar in your party?
Yeah, it's very kind, but we need to plan as
We
well.
need to talk to Uglash about weak spots and things like that.
Yes, yeah. Let's kill him Smaug style. That's right. Let's
Well, we
shake
had a
that
weak-
orc.
Well, we've already seen his soft underbelly when he was flying around. It was in the description and everything.
Soft underbelly, right? Okay. Well, look, Loftar and Torg will lie underneath the piles of gold,
Yeah,
Yeah.
along with the 5 NPCs that are.
Didn't we have a key? Wasn't the go word like go or something anyway? We decided on that. Now. I presume we did. So I'd have done some research on dragons before I left.
Yeah, you
So-
did some, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll have known, and we would know whatever there is to know about their weaknesses and the like. So if we know that their belly is softer, if that was the sort of information that we'd have held.
Yeah, so everybody knows that dragon's bellies are softer. See Smaug. Everybody knows that they've got kind of like weak spots.
yeah.
But then everybody knows that. Dragons know that. Everybody knows that as well.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. If I'm up in
Yeah.
the tower, and it's up talking to me, then its belly's going to be more visible than if I'm on the ground.
Yeah, so other things that are kind of like well understood, certainly by the scholarly community, and certainly you've had access to some research on this, etc. Flattery, courtesy, the riddle game is favoured by dragons, and also if they're well fed, then they tend to slumber.
So maybe
Well,
I need to.
Can they be enheartened much?
They can
does
be
that-
enheartened. Whether that is of advantage to them or to you is a question that needs to be answered. They
Make him
can,
braver and more confident.
and Sirk, there are lots of stories of heroes singing dragons to sleep with
Oh, that's fun.
lullabies,
I
and then striking them.
I have song of 2.
That's an amazing singing ability. We could send you.
Hush your by
Very good.
dragon, go
Yeah.
to sleep. Just
Well-
gonna stab you
I
really
think-
very
so-
deep.
Very good.
I explained to it that I'm here because I want to know its story. Because I think it's worthy of being written down. And it should be remembered by all. Torg's thought better of it. And just,
Oh, it's
Yeah.
literally
It's like,
literally
"Peace
put
out,
his
mate."
jacket on and he's headed off. Well, clearly Torg doesn't want to have to rip up his character sheet.
No.
That's the only explanation.
So that'll be my purpose for being here. And then hopefully it'll have just, if it's gone out to hunt, it should be a bit more placated when it gets back. One might assume. If it comes back and it's going, oh, I couldn't eat another bite, we'll know that we can go with that option.
Yeah.
If it needs to undo a notch on its belt, Christmas pants on, that type of thing.
The scales are popping off.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then if I can put it to sleep, then great. If it's looking like a nightmare idea, I'll try and point it at the other guys.
Look behind you.
Sounds like a good effort.
Okay, cool, good stuff. Right then. We just need Torg.
I was just looking. I can't find the details for this bloody weapon, Paul. I don't know why. I was making notes.
I've got it here. The Brilliant Doom. Physical description. Silver Hue Mattock with a large wooden thing. Khazad runes on the thing. Blah, 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 blah. An ordinary reward is classed as keen.
Yeah, I've got
Flame
that.
of Hope and the Gleam of Terror. So it grants a piercing blow on a 9+. You can, when you hit a target with the weapon, all members of the company, including you, recover 1 point of endurance, plus 1 additional for each Tengwar rolled.
Amazing.
Yeah, and if you intimidate a foe with a combat task, you double the amount of hate the enemy loses.
Yeah, so I remember that. I make a note of that, and now it's all gone.
What Sirk neglected to mention, which is surprising for Sirk, is that it was forged in the fires of the great smithies of Gamel Zirak in the ancient city of Tuman Zahar, which is more commonly known by its Sindarin name of Nogrod.
Yes, I remember that as well.
Sirk might have recounted all that. However, I didn't fancy trying to pronounce Tuman Zahar.
That's one of the 2 main cities of the dwarves back in the west.
Yeah,
that's right. That is right.
Yeah,
there is
founded by one of the 7 great dwarves. The original 7. I watched a really good video on the dwarves last night.
Oh, good stuff.
So Belagost and Nogrod.
Yes,
the 2
Belagost.
cities on the west.
There you go. Torg recounted to the group, to which Sirk interjected and corrected at several pronunciations.
That's right. Yeah.
Actually, it's pronounced Nozaha.
Torg, you're getting it all wrong, Torg.
Yeah. Stop getting history wrong.
And actually, this scene was shot with a really big ring that they had to crane off.
Yeah. So I'm very like, because that is totally Sirk watching.
And this is a bit where Viggo Mortensen broke his toe.
Oh, so he's really. And he actually knocked that knife. I didn't actually know he knocked the knife out of the air on in real life. So that was the one bit from that was like, oh, interesting.
During this scene with the dragon, Torg actually dies.
I pretty think you can remove Torg and replace that with any name of the party.
So what's the gone?
5 chuds to work through first.
5 chuds, that's right.
Yeah.
That's what they call themselves, the 5 chuds. They're a backing group.
So we're assuming we're assuming he's been to feed. When he gets back, he should be a bit placated and sleepy. I'm going to try and get him talking on himself until he's looking a bit tired of my endless questions, and hopefully tired in a let's pick this up tomorrow way rather than a let's me eat you right now way. And then if he falls asleep, bish bash bosh, get in, do the job. I'm sure you'll be able to knock all his hit points off before he wakes up. Sneak attack, 1 round and all that. If not, we're in a dragon fight. If it doesn't look like he's falling asleep, that's when I'll try and weave in the stuff around. Well, I passed an impressive orc camp on the way here, blah, 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 blah. The guy had sat on a pile of gold. I heard talk of his men saying that they plan to kind of he planned to add your gold to his sort of, to improve his stature and increase his legend, etc. Now I've just got to remember that when we actually get into the scene. I refer to my earlier comment. And then if that doesn't work, you scream whatever it is you guys scream and we run into battle.
Get the dragon.
Yeah. Was it Khazad?
Kazad.
Yeah,
So-
Kazakh do it.
You kind of reaching the bottom of the scree slope that gets you down into the mud plain. The mud is dried and caked. You can see the spot where the dragon landed. There's nothing of any great significance there to your eyes. Perhaps it was for display. Perhaps it was to remind the orcs to keep themselves in order as he left the tower. Perhaps he just likes to flex his wings before he rides out. The watchtower of the Bar rises in front of you, its ruins testament to the rise of the dragon and the diminishment of the dwarves. You can see the orc base along the valley and the path that resides upwards. You see a number of the stone doors that used to be able to be opened and allow yourself in around the base of the tower. Ugash looks to you. Where to?
Into the tower.
The main path. Let's
Wow.
keep ourselves low to the sky. I don't want my tribe. I have a number of goblin scouts that, though they will not like the light, it is not so bright that they won't be able to spot.
Mm.
And he kind of
Sounds
darts
reasonable.
off to one of the darts off to a boulder and starts to kind of like move stealthily as much as is able to along. Could we have some stealth rolls from everybody, please?
Oh, love those. For some reason, right, all this second edition nonsense have made Loftar very, very visible.
I think that you changed your stats.
I think the bright yellow and green tights that he's wearing might have
I
something to
do
do
it
with
as
it.
well.
Was Loftar ever stealthy?
Oh, I was. Look, I could steal your coin purse and your beer, and you wouldn't even know. But
That heavily armored, mattock wielding, light-footed rogue.
yeah,
16 great success. Or
Okay,
16,
16
one thing
great.
well.
Yep. Okay.
Got a 10. Doesn't pass.
Okay. So that's
Yeah.
a failure.
I've got a fair fight. A fair fight. A 5, please.
5.
Thank
Okay.
you. Yes, dear.
Okay. Your companion's got a Tengwar as well, so you got a couple of Tengwars to spend. How do you want to spend your Tengwar, Sirk?
Make me
Presumably-
invisible.
Invisible. I don't have that ability, but I can attempt to stop Loftar making as much noise by pointing out where there's big bits of broken stuff that he could kick, or at least try and pull his head down when we're trying to walk behind something to see how. I'll use mine to pass his.
Yeah. Okay. And one of the 5 kind of like reaches out to you, Torg, Lif, and she takes back a large amount of her bag that she had, and that makes it easier.
He was actually
for you.
like 6'6" with like a backpack on.
It's got a blue light spinning around on top of it. She just turns it off. She takes back her bag, and that makes it easier for you to kind of move your way along. You're at the base of the hill, where the path, the road, kind of like heads upwards. You can see and feel the heat and the smell that's coming down this way. Ahead of you, the fitted stone tower reaches up. The architecture is exquisite from an age long past. You can tell that the rock must have been quarried locally and built here. And you can see the kind of care and attention that was put into it, that's been allowed to weather and wore away. The main gate itself is buckled. Clearly, Raynar the dragon comes through here and has caused the structure, the lintel, to lift and to break. You move to the edge, listening and looking. You hear just the creaking of the building, the movement and the howling of the wind as it kind of moves through the ruined toppermost level. You can see what it looks like it's 3 stories from outside. The toppermost of those is empty. Not much of a floor there. More ruins than anything else. Ugash kind of moves in. Looks back. I think we made it safely.
Where are the orcs loyal to you, Uglash?
They're loyal to whoever is strongest. All of them. If Haglak is disposed of, or if the dragon isn't there to back him, they'll turn to me.
Then, for the time being, we are dependent only on your help.
Yes. There. Yes.
Looking around the inside of the base where we are, is there, like, if it's of dwarven construction, would there be anywhere like another level below? Would we have some sort of cellar-y bit that led away from the kind of entry level?
Okay.
Secret doors, passageways, etc., etc.
So it's obvious to Sirk that there must be another level below this one. You've come up the hill and you've got all the stone doors that are kind of like around that created this magnificent sound effect as the wind moves through them, and it created all the different chambers. That would require a level of maintenance, and therefore there would be areas within that tower where the maintenance crews were able to get, and even just the fact that it's been carven out, there's got to be a way through, and you would be surprised with your knowledge of architecture and dwarven history and all that kind of stuff that's well established over the campaign. You'd be surprised if the only route that was crafted by the doors was through this main entranceway.
Can I thereby have a look around to try and then find said additional passageway?
Yep.
Should we distract Ugash with some?
Well, I presume he's going to
What's-
have to hide in there with you guys anyway.
Yeah, distract him with some flavoursome macaroons.
No, just bump into him and say, "Oh, sorry, mate. I clearly wasn't looking where I was going."
Yeah.
Distract
So
him
what's
with your colourful fights.
so where are you looking, Sirk, or what's your plan of action? kind of thing?
So I don't mind either, like, basically using my knowledge of our architectural techniques to look for where the logical place for an entrance would, basically an entrance to a lower level, somewhere where the guys can basically secrete themselves without being right in front of a said dragon.
Yeah. Okay.
So whether that's lore or scan or whatever, or explore, I don't mind.
So I think it would be explore, but informed by lore. So I
That's fine.
think so. The explore would be a favoured check because it sits
Already
right in
favoured
that.
anyway.
Yeah. Okay, fair is. But it sits right in that kind of like sweet spot of dwarven architectural knowledge.
Yeah, there was a reason I said scan, explore, and lore, because they're all favoured.
I
Could be any of
noted that
these.
on my copy of your character sheet.
2 of them come from the. Ooh, that's not too bad. 21 to Tengwars. Quickly, I will look around to find said entrance.
You could use,
And then
so you could use one for quickly, and you could use one for quietly.
Quickly and quietly.
So that'll save you a stealth check essentially.
Cool. And in
yeah,
which case,
okay.
that was what I'd do.
So Sirk, you kind of like you're thinking about this. So you reckon the most logical place for an entrance would be on the base of the hill, Because when you're constructing these things, you don't have to come all the way up the hill to have to kind of come back down again. You know, it's much more likely that there would be something kind of like down there. So you kind of like, you know, hold my beer, and you kind of like scoot out, and then quickly and then very quietly kind of like back down. Start to kind of have a look. You're examining all of these kind of like stone portals, and you quickly decide that that's not where it would be, because it would interfere with the harmonics that was trying to be established. That would be a very precise activity that would need to be done. But there's this area which would be in the lee of the wind, therefore it's not that useful to the builders. And very quickly you can kind of find what looks to be a concealed door. It's kind of like hidden, so it looks very much like the natural rock, and it's hidden slightly into a little bit of a crevice that looks like it's a natural part of the rock there. But you've encountered and read about these kind of things, you know, many times over, and wherever you see one, or whether you've found one, you kind of made a point of intense study of it. So you kind of find that there. You can see that there's a kind of there's a mark around about shoulder height to your average dwarf, where it looks as if it it's been knocked with something.
Attempt to open said door then.
Okay. How are you gonna kind of do that?
I'm gonna use craft to look for how, obviously informed by my lore knowledge of how these things would be put together, I'll start looking for what's obviously
What is your
the
craft?
mechanism. My craft is a 2 favoured, but I can spend a point of hope to make it magical.
Yeah, it's part of your dwarven. So you quickly establish that the mechanism isn't a normal mechanism. There is something that triggers this that is unusual, and it's not necessarily, it's a subtle mechanical thing. So you could, if you would spend the point of hope, you would be able to use the magical stuff to work out what that would be.
Yep, I will. Do you need a roll?
No, if you spend the point of hope, then you kind of, because the magical success
Is a success.
Let me remember now. Actually, hold on.
I think. Well, I still have to get a success. It gives me the equivalent of a.
Yeah, so it's the equivalent of, it's the equivalent of Gandalf, and you roll the dice to see if you get any Tengwars. That's what you do.
That's it. So I get to do.
Can I support?
You're not there, I don't think.
Not
I
there,
think
alright.
Sirk's got off on his own.
Two Tengwars.
Oh wow!
Or
Okay.
2 dice, 2 sixes.
Yeah, very nice. Okay, so
And
So
when
the
no one's here to
mechanism-
see it.
the mechanism that's required is to tap it 3 times with a mattock. But you don't have a mattock, but you do have the skills to replicate it being tapped by a mattock, because this is one of it's a common key to some of these doors around and about. So you kind of like, you kind of get your
I'll get my sword hilt.
Yeah, and you kind of like just add a little bit of weight from stuff in your bag to it, and you go tsh, 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 at the right frequency, and it opens noiselessly, because I'm going to assume that you're spending a Tengwar to do that and to keep it all kind of like quiet and quick.
Quiet and quick. Yeah, is my default setting at the minute.
And it opens out into just a corridor that leads off into the darkness under the hill.
I'll have a quick look in to check the inside mechanism to see if it's openable from inside if shut again.
Yes, I think it is openable from the inside.
In which case, I'll return to the others and instruct them to go down in and close it behind them. Or to at least push it to behind them.
So you're heading back up to the group?
Yeah, to go tell them to then go wait in there, because I'm not taking the rest of this guy's going to come back as we're all filtering, as I'm exploring in down below. As much as he wants to, even he can override his desire at this point. Or maybe I can't.
Right, you're going to have to run this past me again. So you're asking the guys to do what?
So I think the idea is that they secrete themselves in this passageway.
Right.
and so that they're then below the dragon rather than above the dragon. So they're not just sat in his area. So if they need to come charge up and kill him, actually they're not going to be able to hear me, are they?
So this was a corridor that went into the hill, and this is another floor below the kind of. This is a substantial hill. This isn't kind of like a false floor where you can just pop up or anything like that. This is probably
we're out and another level.
You came out of the path, down the hill, around the base.
In that case, he'd go in and have a look.
Yeah. Okay.
And to be fair, Law of Secrets, I'd be going in to have a look anyway. There's no way he's not going to pass off entrance through a secret door and see what's in a passageway. Who would? Sorry, guys. If the dragons come back, good luck.
Okay. So
we'll be fine.
It goes down a corridor, opens out into a wider, larger room. This is more hallmarks of cellars, storage, workspaces, so on and so forth. The weight of the mountain, the heat, the centuries that have passed, they're both disused, in disrepair, and around. There's various other rooms that are kind of coming off. You kind of like have a quick look through and around. There's very faint light coming in. You can't see in the dark. You can't see masses, but you know that you're a fair distance away. There must be a staircase somewhere that kind of like leads further up.
I will look around for the staircase then.
You're going to head off into the dark. You lighting a torch?
Yeah.
Okay. You light the torch. The flickering of the light and the shadows that get created. The heat from the torch doesn't feel much warmer than the heat of the air itself. As you're kind of looking around, you kind of see things, and the shadows are long. You feel like the claws are reaching out towards you. You hear the as the wind howls
it's
through.
not my first experience in being in some creepy, old abandoned dwarven place.
That's fair. You kind of start.
So my willfulness will drive me on.
Sirk has been gone maybe 20 or so minutes. What's everybody else doing?
So it's also going to nip and grab a bit.
Waiting for Sirk.
Yeah, I could. There's lots of stuff. I mean, I can do a quick scan just to have a look around, familiarize myself a bit more with the surroundings. Feels like a useful thing to do. Do a little roll and. Oh, that's okay. 13. No, in that case, it's not even useful. I'm not really doing a good job today. 13. It's not a pass. It's nothing.
Yeah, okay. So you kind of huddled around. You kind of see that you're not in it's not a massive hallway. And it looks as if the door, the door at the other end is shut. You can look around and out. You can smell Ugrash, his breath upon your shoulder. You kind of move away a little bit from him.
Yeah.
He farts. He scratches his arse. He grabs his armpits. Starts to pick at his ear.
So this is just basically a signs of orcs being through here. Obviously, this is super old, but the orcs been here, and then dragon probably not maybe here.
And this is a big entrance. This is a grand entrance, and dragon has bashed and bushed and boomed, kind of like things in big solid doors that are shut at the moment.
But another thing is, I guess, what I would like to do is just to keep an eye on Ugrash, especially when he's not looking, just to learn, since I've been to the Battle of the Five Armies, I would have obviously observed, and then Sirk is missing all the action, of course.
Make an insight roll into Ugrash.
Yeah. Oh, insight. Oh, I have dice in there as well.
Did I miss a Battle of the Five Armies?
Yes, you have. No, Paul. No, this is 9. This is just dire. This is dire.
He's a tall, well-muscled,
smelly orc.
Strong personality for an orc. Obvious leader of the orcs. His weaponry is vicious, but clean. It's not rusty or anything like that. He's a warrior. He's from the warrior caste.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, maybe I'll keep it trying in the future just to see if there's any, I don't know, perhaps weak spots or a habit. It can be useful in the battle in the future.
His belly looks like it's not got the thick hide that the rest of his skin has. Maybe he's got a weak spot there.
Yeah, aren't we? Don't we all? I think. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So Sirk, you're moving around. You come around the corridor and you can see the staircase heading upwards. The light flickers on the steps.
Is it a sort of what sort of staircase is it? Big, little, wide, narrow, spiral?
Functional, straight up, backs on itself, comes back along. So zig up for flight, and then up another
I'll
flight.
extinguish the torch, put my hand on the wall, and make my way up by using it that way.
Yeah, okay. You extinguish your torch. Darkness, warmth, smell, sounds. Slowly, you kind of like move up. You stumble a little bit at the first step, not quite expecting it. Gingerly lifting your foot up, pushing it along until you feel the second step. And slowly, steadily, you then walk around the wall and you continue upwards. And the smell is getting stronger and thicker. Light shafts come through where some of the stonework was broken down, illuminates the motes of dust within them, and you come out into another room, a service room, but this one possibly an old kitchen from the way that the stone is laid out, a huge hearth at one end, disrepair still. Two exits from this room. One looks as if it kind of heads towards a storeroom size, another one out into what looks to be an antechamber. Light is coming, shimmering almost from the antechamber.
I'll go stick my head in the antechamber.
The air is impossibly hot, foul smelling. Billowing clouds of smoke come through, and you can catch a glimpse into the great hall. The massive space would probably easily hold the dragon. The dragon would maybe even be able to fly in this space as you look through it. There is treasure, gold, jewels, gathered around what looked to have been a throne room or an altar of some description. And you can see a stone dropped across what would be where the main hallway was. It looks as if it's suspended by a stone, goes into some kind of mechanism. Suspended by a chain to some kind of mechanism.
I'd go have a look at the mechanism because it's probably more interested in that than using treasure.
You kind of skirt around the edge of the gold. Would a small piece really be missed?
It's Sirk. If he doesn't care about the gold, if there's something that looks like it's
A scan roll.
Hmm?
A scan roll.
Yeah. I'm pretty good at them. Unfortunately, if there's something that looks like it's either historic value, like you know what his flavor of you know what his poison is, something that looks like it's got some secrets about it. Oh balls. 8, so 2 8. So they're the same. 19, great success.
It's not the jewels of the scroll case that attract Sirk's attention. It's the scroll of the scroll case that attacks Sirk's attention. Placed almost as if it was intentional to catch his eye as he skirted around to his companions. He pauses a few moments. Maybe he weighs up the ins and the outs of this. Possibly his intellect, sharp as it is, reminds him that he did kind of enter into some promise with Dane as to who would own the treasure liberated from the dragon. But what is it that he actually does, confronted by knowledge that has perhaps not ever seen the light for centuries since?
With the combination of having been carrying this scabbard for a long time, with his willful nature being evidenced by his belief and his desire to very much be, he doesn't do it for him, he does it for dwarven kind, as he would make his way and go and get that scroll case.
So it's
Thoroughly,
fingers.
easily, immediately.
Certain that the imperative to the race of dwarves outlives the order from the current leader of that race. I mean, let's face it, that is a temporal position against something that is atemporal. He pockets the scroll case, taking a point of shadow with him as the dragon's sickness plays a small part in his actions.
Have a 1 point buffer at the moment. 6 shadow, 7 points of hope.
Wow.
The
If
mechanism has. Sorry?
he might even, like, because he's knowing that he removed the scroll from its case and probably dispose of the jeweled case and just take the scroll. If that's something he could do reasonably rapidly, kind of
It's
thing.
not clear exactly how the case opens.
In which case he'll pocket the case, because that will be a mystery in itself.
Yeah. The mechanism is broken. It's been, defined dwarven mechanism, either through ineptitude or over time. The orcs clearly did not know how to utilize it, and it's been replaced by a much more crude mechanism.
He probably... Alright. Can he work out how to operate it?
Crafts roll.
What roll, sorry?
Crafts.
Crafts. And a double. I have to determine if it's magical before I roll, don't I?
Oh, yeah.
So he knows he's just lost some time by... Although he's justified it to himself, he knows that going and getting the thing is probably cost him a bit of time. He would spend the point of hope to do it. So I'm on 6 shadows. 6 hope. Yep.
Yeah, so
So it's magical, and then the successes are just 2 3s. So Gandalf.
Yeah, okay. So
Gandalf.
So let's have a little look. When the shadow rating matches or exceeds their current hope score, they become miserable. If the feat dice shows the Eye of Sauron, the action fails regardless of the total result obtained by the roll.
So a miserable Sirk.
It's never going to show the Eye of Sauron because it's an automatic magical success kind of thing.
Oh, sorry?
So spending the point of hope gives me a Gandalf.
Oh, yeah. So but you're now miserable.
Well, I'm miserable.
You are now miserable.
I'm miserable, and it'll be because as much as he knows there's a mission on hand, as much as I'm like, yeah, but he wants to just be reading what's in that scroll case.
Yeah.
And he's miserable because he's having to do other things than read what's in that scroll case.
Yeah, so miserable is the status of the condition. It doesn't mean that you're like a misery or you're kind of like miserable in the natural language.
He's very much distracted, shall we say.
You hear Loftar Torg. Something moving behind the wooden the doors. One of the doors flexes a little bit, kind of opens a small crack. So you've seen from your side the stone block be lifted, Sirk, and one of the doors kind of just clearly it doesn't sit flush anymore.
What the hell?
I guess Torg would get ready for a fight.
Yeah, Mattock's out.
Oh gosh.
Relax. I found an entrance. Or as you'd probably hear echoing from inside, relax, I found an entrance. Come on, guys, can you make your way through the hole or not?
Yes, of course. We were wondering where you were, Sirk. We almost
Doing
started
all the
to worry
work
about
like
you.
normal.
A massive chamber. Treasures beyond count. Opens out. You can see what looks to be a throne rising out of the gold. It's not like all gold pieces. There's jewels in there. There's treasures. There's artwork collected from around and about. What looks to be kind of well-made statuary. Some well-made weaponry, swords. A spear catches the eye. A shield catches the eye. The shield is quite close to the throne room.
Does it sound like descriptions of the shield that the guy we know came here before might have been using?
I mean, yeah, to the extent that,
It's
shields
a shiny
are shields, yeah.
If we go have a look at it, has it got his name written in the back?
You're going to have to move across the gold and through the gold and
Yeah.
clamber through.
I
Billowing smoke around the ever-present threat of a dragon returning to find.
I'm going to go shut the door mechanism if I can.
I'll go and sit on the throne. It feels like something I would kind of want to just see and do.
Are you getting a selfie while you're on it?
Yeah.
Loftar sits at the heart of the dragon's lair.
Yeah. Could be the only time in my life. Yeah. Just
Can
living the
everybody
moment.
Make me awareness rolls, please.
Oh, I've got some of that. Yes. Okay. Right.
Awareness.
I've passed that without any resounding success, but yeah, it's a solid pass. 15. Yeah.
Oh,
That's all right. 17, 1 Tengwa.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm aware I'm doing silly things at the moment, I think.
So as you're sitting on the throne, and Sirk, as you're kind of like looking around, there's a sense of a presence. Maybe the lingering of the dragon. But you feel a little bit small in the world, surrounded both by this accumulated treasure, which must have been accumulated over many years. And each of you kind of like has thoughts of what could pass and what could happen. And as Loftar sits on the throne, like a king, with a king's ransom below him, perhaps his mind turns to what would the dwarven kingdom that Loftar leads look like? Perhaps he could create the dwarven kingdom that Loftar leads here in this ancient watchtower with all of this money and these funds. He's got an army back at home, hasn't he? And you can kind of feel almost and see and sense this spiritual decay that is like the shadow being made real in the gold and the wealth and the thoughts that are provided from this. Sirk is just a continuation of what you felt before. But you also hear the downdraft of air forced into land. And the whooshing that is not just the wind, but is a large object or creature moving on the wind.
Quick, move. There's a passageway over here. Come on.
Still flexing, just for a bit. Okay, yeah. Sorry, yeah. Let's go. Let's go with Sirk.
So I'll lead them back to where I came in from.
What are you doing, Torg?
Yeah, just as Sirk says. Yep.
Okay, you move back that way. Buren, Hepti, Nav, Lif, Oda, they move with you. Lif, just absent-mindedly, almost slightly in panic, feeling exposed, she grabs at a spear, an ornate spear. She picks it up and she kind of like moves with her. Hepti grabs at the shield that laid there. It's tall for him, and you can see it's covered in a red, leathery skin as he kind of like comes back with you.
Can I intervene?
Of course.
Can I just grab it straight from their hands and just cast it back onto the pile and hiss at them that we must leave nothing unturned. We must leave it exactly as we found it. If the time is right, then we can plunder should we survive this. But we cannot toy with these trinkets.
But the weapons and armour, they'll keep us alive.
No, Torg is right. We must leave now.
No, we will keep each other alive. These are just things. Forget them. Cast them from your mind.
And you race kind of like to the side, and you all hear and the stone.
I think your noise filtering's cutting you out. I'm still cutting you.
The stone
Noise cancellation's ruining your sound effects.
goes.
The stone makes no sound at all.
What the fuck can you do? Slowly, inexorably rising, and at some point the door open, and you can see a huge claw. As the neck moves forward and the lumbering body squeezes like a cat coming in. What are you doing, guys?
Hiding,
Follow the plan.
cowering.
Yeah, they're following the plan, Sirk. We're behind you 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you look a bit miserable, but I'm sure you'll be fine.
I don't want to reveal where we are, so I might make I'll usher everyone down further into the lower chamber, and then I'll be like,
Can I have some stealth rolls from everybody?
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
can indeed.
Yeah, you got it.
it's gonna be the best.
I've got 2.
Remember, you have to declare hope being spent prior to the roll.
Mate, no problem. I didn't say I've got 2 dice. No, I have 2 as the final result of my total roll. With all the dice.
I'm with you. I got 6.
Sorry, sir. He knows where I am. Basically, that's what we're
He
saying.
knows where I am too.
Yeah, I'm gonna fail.
Okay.
Yeah, fail.
Okay.
I think we need to fess up.
So if he knows we're here, then I'll go back out. My plan was if we could get him downstairs, I'd have gone back out the front and come back in, so that at least he was distracted in my direction, than your direction. But if I've got to walk in and talk to him, Sirk's still going to do it.
I'll get Matuk out, just in case.
You hear. And he kind of darts, moves forward to you. So, Sirk, you're stepping out?
Yes. Hello? Do I know his name? I think he's mentioned his name, hasn't he?
Raynar.
We've heard it from the brothers.
Dwarfs again.
The great and mighty Raynar.
That's me.
Excellent. I've been hoping to get your story for many a year now.
I thought I told your kind never to return.
I wouldn't know about that.
And you are feeling the sense of terror that accompanies whenever you're talking to the dragon. So carry forward.
I'm quite willful, and I'm fierce as well. So utilising both of those traits of myself, and plus I'm probably the most single-minded individual ever when it comes to kind of talking about things. So yes, I'm sorry, I'm not aware of that. I couldn't find any of that in the stories. What I did note was that we didn't have any details about your exploits.
There are more of you.
They're just, don't worry about them. They're my companion party. I needed to. I'm not the most robust individual.
I want to see you all. I want to see you all.
Torg will raise his head. Hello, great Raynar, Badak Kimbar, if I may, to use my own tongue. I am Sirk's protector, if you like.
Yeah.
Sirk is very wise, knowledgeable, and keen to catalogue King Raynar, if I may.
You may?
To catalogue your great stories of your conquests.
You've come to find intelligence to use against me.
No. It's not to use against you. I will not record anything that you don't tell me. But I feel that there's so few great drakes in the world these days that the knowledge that you hold from having lived so long and the exploits that you've achieved, it would be a travesty if they are not recorded somewhere for all to know and hear of, and for your story to be spread wide.
I think a courtesy roll.
Okay.
Can I riddle it instead?
No, I don't
No.
think you can. You're not at that stage yet. I think you're. In fact, I think you're being plain, and I think you're speaking with sincerity. So I don't think riddle is where it's at.
3.
You wrote what? You got a 3.
Just a 3.
Just a 3. Why should I listen to you? You do not talk eloquently at all. Your writing would be pish.
I apologize, sir, but my speaking is clearly not my strong point, as you've very, very astutely and directly identified. My writing, though, is, and my ability to capture facts and details and make sure that those that need to be portrayed is second to none.
Let me hear some of your writing.
I'll have a journal.
If I might advise, Sirk, there are many songs of Glaurung and his immense deeds against the dwarves.
Glaurung was a worm compared to me.
And of more recent times, we have songs also of Smaug.
Smaug? Smaug!
Before he fell to
Weak Smaug. Failed Smaug. Once Smaug the mighty, but now Smaug the defeated.
perhaps if we regale you with a song or two, it might inspire you and help Sirk write a verse or two about your own exploits.
I do enjoy a song. I do enjoy to be enheartened. Let me hear this. A song. I wish to hear a song. And I will judge you on your song as to whether you are worthy to write my own.
Didn't say I could write songs.
So can we do this as a joint action, or can I support Sirk?
Oh, you can support Sirk? Yeah.
Yeah, I have
Yeah,
a
'cause
song of two.
That gives
Okay.
us something, doesn't it? Because you're my fellowship focus.
And you are mine. Yeah.
Yeah, so that would mean that you get, if you spend a point of hope, then you get 2 dice rather than 1 dice.
I will most definitely do that to get 4, because I'm facing a scary ass
Yeah.
dragon.
So
So are you singing, Sirk?
I'll sing.
yeah,
'cause-
so Torg, you spend a point of hope to support,
Yep.
and if you spend a point of hope, Sirk, then you'll get 2 dice.
No,
I
it's
get 2 additional, so I've
Is
got
it-
4 dice now.
he just gets the 2 anyway, does he not? I thought that rule had been tidied up so that if I opt to support,
Oh, when I'm inspired, no, when I get 2 success dice when I spend hope. So I still have to spend hope to get a success dice.
I thought they changed that in.
Oh yeah, I might be reading the Alpha Crib. Well, I am reading the Alpha Crib, so maybe I'm wrong.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that in the.
It's I'll spend it and we'll deal with the consequence after, rather than, because I'm already below my level, so it's not going to do anything else to me, and I'm already miserable.
And you spend hope when you're miserable.
The only thing it says is I can't do is that it's just that feat dice thing. So if I roll an Eye of Sauron, it's an automatic failure, regardless of the total result obtained. That's the only thing it says for miserable.
All right. Different to first edition, that.
Yeah, Weary has got obviously 1, 2, and 3s. They're not successes.
Yeah.
Wounded, but there's, I think, because spending hope's so much more of a mechanic in this version, isn't it?
Yes, so let's not slow this down. Let's let's make the roll.
I've indicated that I've spent it. If I get it back later, great.
Yeah.
So I get 2 feat dice. Both of them are Gandalfs. So I've just rolled a double Gandalf, and then I'm a Gandalf plus 12. What's that? 11, 12. So yeah, a Gandalf, and then 12 on the dice with 1 great success.
Okay,
Tengwar, sorry.
what do you
I'm
wanna
going
do
to call
with
it
the
great
Tengwar?
success.
Yeah.
Can't I inspire? But is that more people really than
It's
just
more
inspiring the dragon?
people. Well, I mean, when you say inspire, what do you mean by inspire?
So we're trying to get this dragon on board by singing it a song.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd be in my song would be particularly inspiring of what we're trying to achieve.
Yeah. Okay. Yep, makes sense. So, and what kind of song are you singing? Are you singing like great deeds to enhearten him, or are you kind of like singing something more like a lullaby, or what is the plan here?
I'm gonna sing him. So, using my rhymes of law knowledge, I'll be singing some. I'll be attempting for a placating. I don't think I'll be able to put him to sleep necessarily, but I'm definitely trying to improve his mood. towards us. So it's not like big and upbeat and inspirational, but it's very much about the exploits of the great worms over the years and things, or like a story, like some tale that I'll have heard of, and I might sort of modify it slightly as I go along, and necessarily emphasize the exploits of the dragon over the dwarf, which is probably how I'd have heard it. So maybe even just flipping their names in the song sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. So so how do you want to kind of like do this? So how are you supporting Torg?
So I think Torg's benefit here is that he knows the verses of the song that will least offend Raynar. Because obviously any dwarven song about either Glaurung or Smaug ends with the downfall of the dragon, right? So we're trying to focus on the mighty elements here, and veer away from all of the kind of the victorious dwarves.
Yeah.
I also think he's
maybe
probably got a really
embellishing-
melodious voice compared to me as well.
Yeah, so I'll be going for the deeper tones and throwing in a few tremolos and
We're
vibratos
properly
here and there
harmonizing. It's like the
yeah.
Beach Boys level harmony,
to just make it pleasant to listen to, as well as cerebral.
rather than Sirk going ha ha ha.
So do you want to give us a flavour of this for the audience? Hey, Raynar, you're so fine. You blow my mind. Hey, Raynar.
It's not about Raynar. We're trying to.
It's the might of the worms over the rest of the world.
So he obviously feels that he's better than
Oh
the
yeah,
other.
definitely.
To feel that you're better than Glaurung, who was the absolute bane of the dwarves for hundreds of years.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually maybe we're not disemphasizing their defeat. Maybe it's like each time you talk about their defeat, we then come back to go, but yet is who is still here. Who mighty of the worms has survived with the fall of others?
There's a lot of thinking on your feet with regards to this song, which you haven't really coordinated before, and you're kind of like you're going to be riffing off like you're a couple of seasoned rap artists.
Yeah.
So remind me what successes you got, Sir.
I got a double Gandalf. And one.
Right.
10 bar.
Okay. 110 bar. Right. Okay. Cool. And
For a total of a Gandalf plus 12.
Yeah. Okay. So you
I went for inspire.
I'm with chat on this. I do want to hear a little bit of this just to kind of like properly set the scene in my mind.
That doesn't mean anything because I can't sing.
I want to hear this. I want to hear this song so that I know what mine.
Fell beast, the darkest thing that ever graced the skies, darker than the clouds over the mountains. Harum.
Aye.
He came as if a gathering storm.
The storm
decimated the lands around.
Decimation.
Harum. Yea, brave and bold was he to behold, and the dwarves cowered in fear.
Cowardly dwarves.
That is a good song.
There is more.
More.
There is a whole section of scouring.
It's kind of like just laying down a little bit in terms of nestling down. It's kind of like body writhes around the altar. Or the altar, the throne. There is another. I smell on my throne the scent of another.
Oh.
Yes, hello. I'm just helping them. I'm just yes, because it's a dangerous land. They needed escort. I'm here. I'm with them. I can't sing though, so. Yeah.
That Matic. That will glory my treasure. I want it as tribute.
It's just a piece of, something I put together. It just makes it look nice. It's not really
Then
useful.
it won't matter if you give it to me, will it?
Oh no! It should be fine. Is there anywhere else you want me to
little
put it, or
dwarf.
should I put it on the throne? I can put it
Close.
next to the throne. How about I just place it here? I can just put it there, yeah, and then.
Beside the throne where I keep my shield. My
All right,
shield.
yeah, all right, yeah.
And he scoops the shield closer to him.
Yeah. So I will accidentally do a little clumbo. That's just to stir a scene a little bit. But I'll place it down and then sort of be clumsy and then just move back and
One more
weapon.
Good. Another verse of the song.
Aye. Of course. I've just realised, out of character, actually, I've just realised that Glaurung couldn't actually fly.
Yeah, he was a worm, a
And so-
crawling worm.
So a big part of the song would have been Sirk turning to Torg and saying,
Actually, I think you'll find he was even more inferior because he was on his belly.
he defiled the skies with a howl
The howl.
and he had many of the greenskins followed him from the
Lowly
north
greenskins.
until many greenskins followed the great Glaurung, and he was lord over them, and they revered him.
Lord.
And there were others flocked to him and loved him and
Flocked to the
sang his
cause, to the
name.
cause.
Glaurung the Great.
They're starting to slumber.
Slumber.
I have eaten well.
And
His
in the
body
year
wrapped around
496,
the gold.
I've just remembered a few other verses. And the fall of Nargothrond.
What are you
Nargothrond.
doing? You can see his eyelids drooping down.
Are we close, like, to each other?
Closer as we sing.
You're close enough.
I just want to whisper it. So when are we going to use this orc story? Like, or is it when he wakes up?
I don't know that we will need to now.
All right.
But I'll edge us closer and lower the volume as we sing, so it's like more
He
soporific.
stirs and you all step back a little bit.
To the hills, run to the hills.
What about
He's got his arm kind of like, well,
Yeah, you can't see that, Matt. That mattock's gone.
what are you doing,
Well.
guys?
I'm putting a claim for a new mattock. This is ridiculous.
Hitting us.
Yeah, we.
I mean, you can see it. I mean, it's not like grabbed it in his hand, but it's kind of like, very, very close to where he's slumbering. So it's
Is any of his soft underbelly visible?
not really.
No, it probably wouldn't be. What I can do is just push his arm out of my way and just get what's mine, but probably not today. What was the plan then? Sorry, are we supposed to steer him against the orc?
We're meant to kill him.
Oh, yeah.
You getting some bags of drugs there, Paul?
Yeah, from IKEA, from judging by the labels.
That's right. Yeah, a couple of couple of things for
There's no more sexy than pegboard.
Some hardcore latching.
That's right.
I think we kind of need to be very wary of waking the dragon up, but at the same time try to mobilize Uglash and the other dwarves and possibly circle around the dragon.
Okay. Uglash comes and just strides out and kind of like looks at the dragon. You can see he gets his sword out. The other dwarves scared.
Yeah. Okay.
In fact, let's see where they're at. but they're willing to carry on. The hand's shaking a little bit.
Can I continue the song, but into the later verses, when we so once he Glaurung was dealt a mortal blow by Turin's black sword. So specifically that verse.
Yeah.
A nod at the orc while you sing it.
Okay, so it's hard. It's 25 to 10, and this battle may take a little while.
What battle?
The one where the orc's about to thwack the dragon. So it's what quarter? It's 25 to midnight where Matt is. So what I don't want to do is start this and then have to finish. It take forever because we wouldn't want to wrap it halfway through. So I'd rather we wrap it now, and come back to this at the start of the next session, or we just commit to playing it all the way through. But if we're tired, then it's your call. What do we want to do, guys?
I think it's a nice cliffhanger if we call it there.
Yeah, it would be nice to start with "Let's kill a dragon."
Yep. Okay. You okay with that, Joe?
Dragon.
Yeah. Fine.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What I don't want to do is start and we find out, it's like 1 o'clock when Matt finishes, kind of thing.
We're still chipping away at this dragon.
Yeah.
Still pushing Ugash to do his job.
So the song, softly but with the intensity of the voice still, talks of Glaurung being smacked by Turumbar and his black sword. Ugrash taking the cue, not really knowing, or kind of like, the tales of Turumbar that are told in the orcs are very different. Very different. But he knows what's happening. He has his sword above and he starts to swing it down, and you see the eye of the dragon and the head tilt as the sword arcs through the space. And we'll pick it up from there next time.
Lovely. I never liked that orc, just for the record.
No.
To be fair, we were fucking lucky even to get this far.